I'm currently waiting for some parts to show up, specifically my head gasket and head studs. So while I wait, it's time for the stock wheels to go. So you might have noticed in the last episode that the car is currently on a set of stock S13 wheels. I sold the works that were on the car last year, and I put these stock wheels on just so I could roll the chassis around while I waited for some new wheels. The new wheels are some 16 by 10 by 0 offset diamond racing steelies, and they're wrapped in some 225/50 R16 Yokohama Advan tires. And these wheels are absolutely massive. The work wheels I was running last summer were 18 by 8.5, but they had less sidewall, so these work out to being about the same diameter and about the same amount of stretch. The main difference is that these are significantly wider and significantly higher offset. My prediction is that these wheels are going to fit really well in the back, which has already been modified to accommodate a really fat wheel like that, but I think they're going to fit pretty poorly in the front, which has only been pumped a little bit, so it might have a hard time fitting that much rubber, but we'll see what happens. We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. For now, I'm going to put these things on and see how it looks. I can already guarantee you these are going to rub on absolutely everything. Alright, that's all the wheels on, and I am super happy with how that looks. You have to kind of use your imagination and picture what it's going to look like with the body kit installed, but I think that looks awesome. I really like the white and the teal. I really like the way it looked with the old chrome wheels on it, but I like the white way better, and I like the dish of these steelies. I tested it out to see if it'll go lock to lock, and it just barely won't. On both full right and full left, the wheels hit on the inside of the wheel arch. So I'm going to have to do something about that. Either raise the front of the car up a little bit, and if I have to do that, I'll probably actually have to raise the entire height of the car, because the front's already a little higher in the back, so I'd have to raise them both. Or I could give the inner fender some love with a sledgehammer or something, but that's kind of a janky way to do it. But I'll figure something out. For now, I got the wheels on and pretty happy with it. I got the block back from the machine shop and it's looking very crisp. The block I didn't get machined. I just checked it for straightness and it seemed pretty dead on. I don't think there would be any point of pulling it out and getting it machined, even if I wanted to, which I really don't. And my new head studs and head gasket showed up, so I can start putting this thing back together. That is my head studs in. I didn't film it because it's not very interesting. You just kind of screw them into the block. But now I am ready to put my new head gasket on. This is a Tomei multi-layered steel head gasket. You can see there that it has quite a few layers. And hopefully it holds up a little bit better than my old composite gasket did. It's kind of a pain in the ass to do this while the timing chain is still attached, because you have to hold it up so that it doesn't fall off the bottom sprocket. So basically every time you want to put the head gasket on or take the head gasket off, you have to ditch the zip tie and then make the switch and then put the zip tie back on. But it is preferable to retiming your whole engine, which I don't feel like doing today. Alright, so my head gasket fit on the head studs just fine, which tells me that those head studs are at least half-assed pointing in the right direction. And now I'm just going to make sure everything's cool here. Like I didn't leave a rag in one of the cylinders or something, and I'm going to toss my head back on. And by toss, I mean place very gently with great care. I'm the dumbest fucking guy ever. You're not supposed to put the head down on top of your timing chain. That is widely regarded as a dum-dum. And fuck. I did not remember to grab a second zip tie. This sucks. I should be banned from working on cars. Oh! Got a bungee cord, that'll work. That was clutch as fuck. So the head sat down very nicely on the new studs. Didn't have any alignment problems, which is good. I don't know why I would have any alignment problems, but it's nice that I didn't. Now I can go ahead and install all of the washers. This I am going to film, for some reason. Oh, I need a magnet for that. Oh, that's not ideal. That's so not ideal. So remember when I said I should ban from working on cars? I was right. I dropped one of the washers down into the front timing cover, and I'm assuming that has the potential to cause a whole fuckload of damage depending where it landed. So I've got this magnet that I taped to a dowel, and I'm gonna go fishing. You joined me several hours into a crisis. As you saw, I dropped a washer down my front timing cover into my oil pan. I was not able to get it out using a magnet on a stick, so I pulled my oil pan off. And I got my man. While I was at it, I figured, screw it, I pulled my front timing cover off, because I figured I might as well retime the whole engine, since I effectively tore the entire long block down already. Why not? At the start of this video, I was ready to put the head back on, and now I basically have to put the whole long block back together. But that's the way she goes. Okay, quick update here. I got the lower timing chain and the upper timing chain installed. Everything's timed up. It's good. It turns over fine. It doesn't interfere. I never filmed that part because it's really a hassle to get this upper timing chain in with just one person while you're also trying to film something. But I'm sure you can imagine what it looked like. Just picture 45 minutes of me fumbling with a sprocket, and that's pretty much good. Now I am going to install the rest of the cam caps. Now I can go ahead and install the front timing covers as well as the oil pan, and then I'm good to put the engine back on the mounts. And then finally the nightmare of me dropping a washer down the front of the engine will be completely resolved. Alright, I got the front timing covers on, as well as the oil pan and the valve cover. And now I am good to put on the intake manifold, exhaust manifold, all the accessories. We're getting there. Oh, fuck me. Why am I like this? So I got the engine bay harness in, as well as the distributor. When I was turning the engine over to top dead center to install the distributor, I noticed it was making a weird sound. It was kind of like a hollow thunking sound, like part of the rotating assembly was hitting the oil pan. So I dropped the oil pan again, and sure enough, you can see right here, the paint is worn off that little baffle on the windage tray, like part of the rotating assembly was contacting it. So what I did was I knocked that down a bit, so it doesn't stick up quite as high. And also, I experimented with it right when I was pulling the oil pan off. It seems like if I move the oil pan a couple millimeters in either direction, it wouldn't do it. So I think the initial problem wasn't that this was sticking up too high, it's just that the oil pan was a little bit misaligned. But either way, knocking that down hopefully will fix it if aligning it correctly doesn't fix it. So now I have to regasket this and put it back on the underside of the car, and hopefully no more thunking noise. Alright, that is fixed. Alright, this is my old O2 sensor wire, and it used to be routed kind of like this, where the O2 sensor comes out right behind the turbo. The O2 sensor wire went around my hater pipe and back there to the harness, and that resulted in, at some point, this plastic connector caught on fire. So, I'm getting rid of that. And instead, I'm going to route the O2 sensor wire this way. It'll go around the front of the head and into the harness over there, and that way it won't have to be nearly as close to my hater pipe, and that's just one less potential fire hazard. Alright, I'm getting pretty close to done here. The main things I have left to do are some coolant hoses, some accessory belts, my spark plug wires, and a couple cables and such. Really just nickel and dime stuff. Shouldn't be too much longer here. I have to be honest, I'm pretty trash when it comes to routing spark plug wires. This turned out pretty decent though. None of them are touching each other. It does completely cover the oil filler cap, but it's kind of necessary. I really didn't want any of my spark plug wires too close to the hater pipe. None of those caught fire, but I don't really want to find out if they're going to catch fire, so I gave it a bunch of distance there. I'm also not super thrilled with the way my oil feed line just kind of goes over the entire engine and then slinks away into the intake manifold, but that's really the only way I could route it based on how long the line is. But it's fine. It'll just, catch fire. So it turns out it's impossible to get a belt to the right tension if you're missing an entire pulley! So this is a little bit of a problem I just found. I guess this one charge pipe got very smushed while it was sitting in storage, and that's not even close to round anymore. And I really don't think I'll be able to find one of these before I want to start the car for the first time tomorrow. So I need to do something about this. Alright, so that's what I'm left with. It's not perfect, just a little scratch from the vice grips, but I am very confident that it's going to hold boost, so that's about all I can ask for here. Alright, so the car is pretty much ready for first start. The only thing I'm missing right now is an intake. Now, I ordered all the parts I need to make a proper intake, but they didn't show up on time. So, as much as I hate to say it, the shop vac intake is going back on. So at this point, everything's assembled and I'm ready to start trying to start the car, but I'm looking at this from the future and I can see all the footage I have of me trying to start the car, and it definitely justifies its own episode. So I'm going to end this episode here. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next episode where I'm going to get this thing started.